Hi, this is Sarah. In this lecture, we will review the research in presbyopia. The learning objective of this lesson is to review the current developments in presbyopia research. Before we begin, here is a brief presentation of the options for the management of presbyopia, which will be further analyzed in the following slides. Presbyopia profoundly affects the quality of life and emotional well-being. Although various methods for improvement are available, accessing them can be challenging in developing countries. Indeed, even in developed countries, the prescription approach is sometimes suboptimal. In the following section, we will give a brief overview of the current treatment options of presbyopia. First, spectacle correction will be discussed. Spectacles may vary in refractive power across the lens surface to provide in-focus vision at different distances. The integration of multiple lens curvatures induces undesired peripheral aberrations. However, published clinical comparisons have been limited. Aspects of the lens power profile, including the width of the far viewing zone, near viewing zone, smoothness of blur gradient, and level of distortion, can be adjusted to enhance satisfaction, especially when tailored to individual preferences. Regarding pharmaceutical treatment, this is arguably one of the most promising treatment approaches. Several drugs are currently under investigation. Two main options appear to be gaining increasing interest. In specific, medications that alter the size of the pupil and induce miosis, thus affecting depth of focus and potentially causing a secondary myopic shift, and those that intend to restore dynamic accommodation in the aging eye by softening the crystalline lens. Numerous drug formulations in ongoing or recently concluded clinical trials are specifically created to adjust pupil size and, in certain instances, stimulate temporary ciliary muscle function on a daily basis. In the next slides, the table shows current pharmaceutical agents that are being researched. Pilocarpine hydrogen chloride ophthalmic solution 1.25%, under the trade name Vuity from Allergan, was the first FDA-approved topical drop to treat presbyopia pharmacologically. In March 2023, it was approved by the FDA for a twice-daily dosing option along with its original approval as a once-daily treatment obtained in October 2021. The advantages of contact lenses in addressing presbyopia, attributed to factors such as stable optics aligned with eye movement, aesthetic appeal, and prevention of fogging, have been recognized as a significant opportunity for expanding the contact lens market. Recent advancements in design enable these lenses to perform similarly to progressive edition lenses. The BCLA Contact Lens Evidence-Based Academic Report, specifically focusing on contact lens optics for presbyopia correction, highlighted recent designs concentrating on the extended depth of focus. These designs manipulate optical aberrations to create a single elongated focal point, differing from multifocal lens designs with multiple foci. As for the accommodating intraocular lenses, they faced setbacks in their early hinged and dual optic designs, primarily attributed to fibrosis within the capsule and difficulties in sizing to adapt to the natural changes in capsule dimensions influenced by the ciliary muscle. Recent designs have shifted their focus towards optics that can change shape, aiming to address these limitations. The only FDA-approved intraocular lens with an accommodating indication was found to move backward rather than the intended forward direction with an accommodative effort. Other implanted accommodating lens designs have also been found to display no significant dynamic optical change with accommodative effort. Restoring more natural eye focusing with accommodating intraocular lenses still seems far off. Several innovative intraocular lenses have been developed to address presbyopia and provide a certain level of accommodation. Here are some examples. First, Fluid Vision consists of an acrylic shell filled with silicone oil, allowing accommodation of about 2.00 D by changing its shape. When the ciliary muscles contract for near focus, fluid inside the haptics is pushed into the optic section, altering the lens curvature. Relaxation of the ciliary muscles for distance focus causes the fluid to move back, simulating a natural lens without accommodation. Moreover, Juvene is a modular lens that involves a base lens and a curvature-changing fluid optic fitting into the base lens. The lens is designed to change shape, contributing to accommodation. Another accommodative intraocular lens is OmniView, which is a dual-optic IOL with a multiple lens design, providing a unique approach to addressing presbyopia. Opira is an accommodating intraocular lens, comprising a static posterior lens and a dynamic anterior surface. The lens's haptics are fixated in the capsula rhexis, allowing for more direct interaction between the ciliary body and the lens. Clinical trials have shown promising results, with patients achieving uncorrected near vision of 20/25. Finally, although the crystallines claims accommodation, it is more accurate to say that this lens provides an extended depth of focus. For what multifocal and extended depth of focus intraocular lenses are concerned, two recent systematic reviews have both reached the conclusion that multifocal intraocular lenses offer enhanced uncorrected near vision and a higher likelihood of independence from spectacles compared to monofocal lenses. However, there is a greater risk of experiencing unwanted visual phenomena, with newer diffractive designs identified as performing the best. Machine learning has recently been applied to calculate intraocular lens power and could also in the future assist clinicians in synthesizing large amounts of clinical data, including optical coherence tomography biometry and aberration data, to identify the best multifocal intraocular lens for an individual patient. Another treatment option is ablation. PresbyLASIK is a method in which the cornea is reshaped through multifocal ablation profiles to simultaneously address ametropia and presbyopia in both eyes. Usually, individuals opting for presbyLASIK don't exhibit clinically significant cataract, and the outcome of the procedure often sustains satisfactory levels of stereopsis in their vision. Drawing from the somewhat contentious theory that attributes presbyopia to the aging-related expansion of the crystalline lens, causing a reduction in circumlental space between the lens equator and the ciliary muscle and subsequently releasing tension on the ciliary zonules, scleral expansion bands have been devised. Studies have shown an improvement in near visual acuity and measurable post-implantation focus range, although this decreased with time and the research to date is limited. A recent clinical trial published in 2020 showed that 84% of 360 participants implanted with visibility microinserts with 24 months follow-up achieved 20/40 at 40 centimeters and a gain of at least 10 letters. According to the approach of optofluidics and optoelectronics, fluids or gels enclosed within rigid or deformable structures, possessing a refractive index higher than their surroundings, can be altered by adjusting the internal gas pressure or by applying an electrical field. This concept has been suggested as a foundation for variable focus technology, particularly in the development of adaptive spectacles aimed at correcting presbyopia. Spectacle lenses incorporating liquid crystal, which is a birefringent material bending light based on the orientation of its molecules, have been suggested for presbyopic correction. However, their current usage is constrained by limitations in the field of view. Further refinement and extensive testing are necessary before these lenses can be widely applied. Various interventions for the treatment of presbyopia are currently being researched, with pharmaceuticals being the most promising. Among them, spectacles and contact lenses are the least invasive. Accommodating intraocular lenses, ablation, scleral implants, optofluidics, and optoelectronics are also options for treating this condition. On this slide, you can find a few references for further reading. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on research in presbyopia, and please don't forget to run the self-evaluation tests of the lecture.